Who wouldn't want to be a number 1 draft pick? You get the spotlight, the bag, and the ultimate opportunity to be great. That's certainly all true. But with all that opportunity comes a boatload of pressure, and not everyone has proven able to handle that. Over the years, we have seen countless stars quickly shift from savior to bust, and sometimes it can get incredibly ugly. So let's go all the way back to the year 2000 and see how every single first overall pick has got on since. First up, we have Courtney Brown, a defensive end who was viewed as a can't-miss prospect, which was exactly what the Cleveland Browns needed fresh off a 2-14 season. Brown started strong for Cleveland, but injuries would eventually cap the upside you would hope to see from a first overall pick. 4.5 sacks early in his sophomore effort looked promising, only for a season-ending injury to get in the way, one that he would ultimately never fully recover from. Brown did contribute to Cleveland's playoff berth in 2002, but it's fair to say he never blossomed into the star that the team needed him to be. Ultimately, injuries won the battle, leading him to retire in 2006 with just 19 sacks to his name. One of the biggest names in the history of the sport is up next. Vick was taken first overall by Atlanta in 2001, entering the league as an electrifying dual-threat quarterback who had just finished 3rd in Heisman voting. After sitting out his rookie season, Vick entered with a bang in 2002, earning a Pro Bowl nod immediately for his 2,936 yards and 16 touchdowns through the air, as well as 777 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground. Vick then helped his Falcons secure a playoff victory over Green Bay to really send the fan base into dreamland. After losing the 2003 season to injury, Vick returned in 2004 to lead the Falcons to an 11-5 record and NFC Championship appearance, which unfortunately saw them lose heavily to Philadelphia. While interceptions had begun to creep more regularly into Vick's game at this point, he made history in 2006 when becoming the first ever quarterback to rush for over 1,000 yards. However, the celebrations were short-lived, as a disturbing dogfighting scandal would see Vick spend 21 months in federal prison. He returned in 2010 to pick up a Comeback Player of the Year award and his 4th Pro Bowl now with Philly, but never managed to squeeze any more success out of a career that absolutely should have had it based on talent alone. Another quarterback took the top spot in 2002, with David Carr heading to Houston. Carr was a prolific passer as a senior at Fresno State, notching 46 touchdowns, but he had no such success in the pros. In fact, he had a rookie season from hell, not helped out by a poor Texans offensive line, which contributed to him being sacked an NFL record 76 times. In total, he led the league in sacks in 3 of his first 4 seasons. As you can imagine, that's not going to do good things for your confidence, and certainly makes bad habits a likelihood. The arrival of Andre Johnson helped him improve a bit, to the extent that he led the league in completion percentage in 2006 with 68.3%. But even then, he only threw 11 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. The damage was done. David Carr was never going to be the guy. He did at least get to celebrate a Super Bowl win as backup to Eli Manning in 2011, though. Carson Palmer was the pick in 2003, heading to Cincinnati fresh off a Heisman Trophy winning campaign with USC. The prototypical quarterback sat his rookie season, found his feet as a sophomore, then validated his pick in year 3. That 2005 season saw him complete a league-high 67.8% of his passes for 3,836 yards and a league-high 32 touchdowns, guiding the Bengals to their first playoff berth in 15 seasons. Unfortunately, the next few years came nowhere near close to matching that success from a team perspective, even if Palmer continued churning out solid seasons. A brief stint in Oakland also failed to spark any success before Palmer found himself in Arizona, teaming up with Bruce Arians to deliver some of his best football. A career-high 4,671 yards, 35 touchdowns, and just 11 interceptions in 2015 saw the Cardinals post a 13-3 record and make it all the way to the NFC Championship game, where they lost to Carolina. Palmer would retire a few years later with 46,247 passing yards, 294 touchdowns, and 3 Pro Bowls. A confusing start to the 2004 draft saw Eli Manning selected first overall by San Diego before immediately being traded to the New York Giants, where he would deliver a slightly confusing career. For 16 years, Manning would be a New York Giant, picking up a grand total of 4 Pro Bowls across that stretch while delivering a satisfyingly average 117 and 117 win-loss record. Despite these underwhelming accolades, Manning is firmly in the conversation for Hall of Fame inclusion thanks to his 2 remarkable Super Bowl victories over the New England Patriots. He was clutch when his team needed him to be and is responsible for some of the most iconic plays and moments in NFL history. Is he a Hall of Famer for you? Let us know in the comments. Alex Smith makes it 5 first overall pick quarterbacks in a row, heading to San Francisco in 2005. This selection is infamous for the fact that Aaron Rodgers had to wait until pick 24 to hear his name called in this draft, and we all know how his career has gone since. For San Francisco, there was some immediate buyer's remorse, as Smith turned in one of the worst rookie seasons this sport has ever seen. His 7 starts yielded a 2-5 record. But more concerningly, just 1 touchdown and a whopping 11 interceptions. Thankfully, after a couple of slightly better seasons and 1 more lost entirely to injury, Smith rebounded well under Jim Harbaugh to play much better football in the early 2010s, taking San Francisco to the NFC Championship game in 2011. He then made the transition to Kansas City, where his steady hand produced 4 playoff berths in 5 seasons. Unfortunately, his failure to get past the divisional round led to the Chiefs drafting Patrick Mahomes, resulting in Smith finishing his career at Washington. After a horrendous start, Smith can be proud of his career, which produced 35,650 yards, 199 touchdowns, 3 Pro Bowls, and 1 Comeback Player of the Year award. He's still no Aaron Rodgers, though. The Houston Texans selected defensive end Mario Williams with their first overall pick in 2006, surprising everyone who saw Reggie Bush and Vince Young as more exciting prospects. A slightly underwhelming rookie season of 4.5 sacks only added to the theory that Houston had picked wrong, but all the doubters were silenced 1 year later when Williams turned in 14 sacks, earning second-team All-Pro and Pro Bowl honors in the process. From that point onwards, Williams was one of the most reliable and consistent defensive players in the league, regularly hovering around the double-digit sack mark. A blockbuster move to Buffalo occurred in 2012, at which point Williams took his game up a notch, posting 38 sacks in 3 seasons. He eventually retired after the 2016 campaign, having played 11 good seasons in the NFL, yielding 97.5 sacks and 16 forced fumbles. It was back to the quarterbacks in 2007, and this one did not go well. Jamarcus Russell is widely regarded as being the biggest bust in NFL history. A contract holdout caused him to miss most of his 2007 rookie preseason, resulting in him appearing just 4 times, tossing 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. As the full-time starter in 2008, Russell improved to throw 13 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, but completed just 53.8% of his passes and posted a 5-10 record as starter. The wheels then properly fell off in year 3, as the 2009 Raiders went 2-7 with Russell as starter, thanks mainly to his dismal 48.8% completion rate, 3 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. That's not at all what you want from your first overall pick. Offensive tackle Jake Long was taken first overall in 2008 by the Miami Dolphins, immediately paying dividends with 4 straight Pro Bowl seasons. He was everything Dolphins fans could have hoped for, also being named to the second-team All-Pro roster in 2009 and the first-team All-Pro roster in 2010. Unfortunately, injuries began to take their toll in 2011, leading to a decline in Long's play that would ultimately see him bounce between 4 different teams over the last 5 years of his career. Matthew Stafford was the pick in 2009, heading to Detroit after their disastrous 0-16 season in 2008. Despite being hampered by injuries in his first 2 seasons, Stafford grew into his role, and in his 3rd season in the league, he showed out with a very impressive 5,038 yards and 41 touchdowns to just 16 interceptions. This gave Lions fans their first taste of playoff action since 1999. While Stafford continued to churn out good play, the Lions' curse prevented them from ever sustaining any success as a team. Thankfully for Stafford, he was traded to LA in 2021, where he immediately led the Rams to Super Bowl glory off the back of a 4,886-yard, 41-touchdown season. His quality was never in doubt, and this magic first season in LA gave him the ring his career deserved. He's still going strong now, looking to add to his impressive collection of nearly 60,000 yards and 377 touchdowns. Rounding out our first decade of first overall picks, we have Sam Bradford. a talented quarterback who was cursed by injuries. Bradford kicked off his career in St. Louis, where he was named Offensive Rookie of the Year for his 3,512 yards and 18 touchdowns. Injuries and poor play limited him to a 1-9 record as a starter his sophomore season, kickstarting an unfortunate trend of injuries for Bradford. He played well in 2012, but then tore his ACL in both 2013 and 2014. Whenever healthy, Bradford was a solid quarterback, which is why Philadelphia, Minnesota, and Arizona all wanted to take a shot on him over the last 4 seasons of his career. But injuries continued to get in the way, leading him to retire after the 2018 season. The Carolina Panthers owned the first overall pick in 2011, and they spent it on Cam Newton. A rare combination of size and speed, Newton took the NFL by storm when passing for 4,051 yards and 21 touchdowns as a rookie, to go along with 706 yards and 14 touchdowns on the ground. Unsurprisingly, this was enough to win him the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. With Newton at the helm, Carolina showed consistent improvements, reaching the playoffs with a 12-4 record in 2013 before Cam went truly berserk in 2015. That 2015 campaign saw Newton win the prestigious MVP award for his 3,836 yards, 35 touchdowns, and just 10 interceptions through the air, and 636 yards and 10 touchdowns on the ground. In doing so, Newton led the Panthers to a 15-1 record and a Super Bowl appearance where they lost to the Denver Broncos. While the Panthers never made it back to the Super Bowl, Newton will go down as one of the most entertaining quarterbacks the NFL has ever seen, and his 75 rushing touchdowns still stand as an NFL record. He retired after the 2021 season with over 30,000 passing yards, 5,628 rushing yards, 1 first-team All-Pro, 3 Pro Bowls, the MVP award, and the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. He certainly goes down as a good use of a first overall pick. From one talented quarterback to another, we now turn our attention to Andrew Luck, who was the Indianapolis Colts' first overall selection in 2012. The big-armed quarterback was widely regarded as one of the most exciting prospects of all time, and he certainly lived up to expectations when setting a new NFL rookie record with 4,374 yards in that 2012 season. That kick-started an impressive run of 3 consecutive 11-5 seasons for the Colts, culminating in a 2014 campaign in which Luck passed for 4,761 yards and a league-leading 40 touchdowns to just 16 interceptions. After a promising AFC Championship game appearance in that 2014 season, the injury bug took hold of Luck. He only played half of the 2015 season before missing all of 2017 due to shoulder injuries. He rebounded well with a Comeback Player of the Year winning season in 2018, but shocked the industry with his retirement during a 2019 preseason game, citing the mental and physical toll of injuries as the reason why. The decision was not well received by fans, who brutally booed Luck off the field. In the 2013 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs spent their first overall pick on offensive tackle Eric Fisher. After a slow start to his career at right tackle, Fisher gradually became more comfortable with life in the NFL and became the Chiefs' starting left tackle in 2014. While he never became a truly dominant player, Fisher was reliable, starting 128 games and playing a key role in helping the Chiefs reach the Super Bowl in the 2019 season, even though he couldn't play in the big game due to injury. He spent a rock-solid 8 seasons with the Chiefs, not giving up more than 6 sacks in any of his last 4 seasons with the team. We move to the defensive side of the ball for the first overall pick in 2014, with a widely regarded generational talent in Davon Clowney heading to the Houston Texans. Clowney was an imposing figure who the Texans hoped would be a nightmare lining up alongside superstar J.J. Watt. Unfortunately, fans had to wait to see what this exciting partnership could do, as Clowney's pro career was delayed by a torn meniscus that cost him most of his rookie season. Clowney went on to post 4.5 sacks in 13 games as a sophomore, before improving to 6 sacks in 2016 and 9.5 sacks in 2017. All of these were good enough to earn Pro Bowl selections, but there was no denying Clowney hadn't quite lived up to the expectations of a first overall pick. He was traded to Seattle in 2019, kickstarting the journeyman phase of Clowney's career. Between 2019 and 2024, Clowney has played for 5 different teams with varying results. While never delivering on the generational talent his profile suggested he had, Clowney has proven to be a useful threat off the edge, posting 9 sacks in Cleveland in 2021 and 9.5 sacks in Baltimore in 2023. He's now settled in Carolina, hoping to contribute to their revival with a much improved Bryce Young in 2025. Jameis Winston was the first overall pick in 2015, heading over to Tampa Bay to be the face of the Buccaneers franchise. One thing is for sure with Winston: he brings plenty of entertainment value. He earned a Pro Bowl in his rookie season for his 4,042 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions. This was a pretty good representation of what would happen over his entire rookie contract with the Buccaneers, always posting good yardage and touchdown numbers, but also contributing way too many interceptions. An incredible 5,109 yards, 33 touchdowns, and a league-leading 30 interception season in 2019 capped off this entertaining but underwhelming stint in Tampa in style, paving the way for him to become a backup for the next phase of his career, first in New Orleans and then in Cleveland. Ahead of the 2025 season, he signed another backup deal with the New York Giants. Ultimately, the highs with Winston can be pretty high, but you just know that an interception or back-breaking mistake is never too far away. The 2016 NFL Draft saw the Los Angeles Rams send a haul of draft picks to move up from 15th to 1st overall to select Jared Goff. A horrendous rookie season saw Goff lose all 7 of his starts, contributing to the firing of head coach Jeff Fisher shortly thereafter. With Sean McVay taking over, Goff appeared to be a different quarterback, showing great improvement as a sophomore before leading the team all the way to a Super Bowl appearance in 2018 off the back of a 4,688-yard, 32-touchdown season. A loss to New England in that Super Bowl sparked the beginning of a downhill trajectory for Goff's relationship with head coach Sean McVay, culminating in him being traded to Detroit ahead of the 2021 season. It appeared as if Goff would be nothing more than a bridge quarterback for a Detroit team in transition, but general manager Brad Holmes saw things differently. Goff has become a fan favorite in Detroit, overseeing the rapid rebuild and becoming one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL on one of the best offenses in the country. The 2024 season saw him post a career-high 111.8 passer rating with 4,629 yards and 37 touchdowns. Now Lions fans will be hoping Goff can do what he couldn't in LA and win a Super Bowl. Myles Garrett was the easiest of first overall selections for the Cleveland Browns in 2017. He was the perfect combination of brute force and crafty skill from the defensive end position, and he has been nothing short of spectacular throughout his entire career. Playing on a perennially disappointing Cleveland Browns team, Garrett has delivered at a Hall of Fame level, posting double-digit sacks in all but one of his 8 seasons in the NFL. He won the Defensive Player of the Year award for his 14 sacks and 4 forced fumbles in 2023, and has been selected to All-Pro teams 6 times. This guy is an absolute beast and will go down as one of the best defensive players of all time. 1 year after taking Garrett, the Cleveland Browns selected Baker Mayfield first overall. The former Heisman Trophy winning quarterback provided an immediate spark for the Browns, passing for 3,725 yards and 27 touchdowns as a rookie. He then gave them an emotional first playoff berth in almost 2 decades in 2020, delivering the best football of his young career with 3,563 yards, 26 touchdowns, and just 8 interceptions. A stunning victory in the wildcard round over the division rival Pittsburgh Steelers made it seem as if Mayfield was destined to be a fan favorite for years to come. However, a disappointing 2021 campaign encouraged the team to somewhat unfairly give up on Baker in favor of Deshaun Watson. Thankfully for Mayfield, he landed in Tampa Bay a couple of years later, where his career has rebounded in fine fashion, delivering back-to-back 4,000-yard seasons and a career-high 4,500 yards and 41 touchdowns in 2024. It took some time, but Baker Mayfield eventually delivered on the quality that made him a first overall pick back in 2018. Another Heisman Trophy winner was selected first overall in 2019, with Kyler Murray headed to Arizona. His selection came just 1 year after the Cardinals swung and missed on a disaster QB Josh Rosen, who was immediately outshone by Murray. The dual-threat quarterback kickstarted his Arizona career with a very tidy 3,722 yards and 20 touchdowns through the air to go along with 544 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. This was enough to crown him the Offensive Rookie of the Year, instantly validating the Cardinals' decision to hit the quarterback position for the second year running. 3,971 yards and 26 touchdowns through the air to go along with 819 yards and 11 touchdowns on the ground filled the Cardinals fan base with even more hope in 2020 before Murray announced himself as an MVP candidate with a 7-0 start in 2021. Unfortunately, a playoff berth that season was followed up by a frustrating couple of years impacted by an ACL tear. There's no doubt that Murray was a first-round pick well spent, but inconsistencies in his play have restricted him from properly elevating the Cardinals to a regular contender in the NFC. Joe Burrow was the first player off the board in 2020, heading to Cincinnati, where he has quickly established himself as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. An Offensive Rookie of the Year campaign appeared to be underway for Joe in 2020 until he suffered an ACL tear, limiting him to to an impressive 2,688 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions in 10 games played. Whilst Bengals fans were disappointed to miss out on the second half of that rookie campaign, Burrow made up for it by taking the team to a Super Bowl in 2021, completing a league-high 70.4% of his passes for 4,611 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions, all while taking the most sacks in the league with 51. For his efforts, Burrow was named Comeback Player of the Year, but he couldn't get the team across the line, falling to the Rams in the Super Bowl. Burrow enjoyed his first Pro Bowl season in 2022, but suffered his second season-ending injury in 4 years in 2023. Just as he had done before, though, Burrow proved his toughness when returning in 2024 to deliver his best football yet, leading the NFL with 4,918 yards and 43 touchdowns to win his second Comeback Player of the Year award. A poor defense took away any hopes of playoff football or an MVP award, but with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins now signed on long-term, we can expect plenty more years of domination from this awesome number 1 pick. Trevor Lawrence was the first overall selection in 2021, also entering the league as a perceived can't-miss prospect. Unfortunately, things haven't gone quite as smoothly for Trevor over in Jacksonville. A disastrous Urban Meyer head coaching experiment led to Lawrence completing under 60% of his passes for 3,641 yards, 12 touchdowns, and a league-leading 17 interceptions as a rookie. Thankfully, Meyer wasn't around long in Duval County, making way for Super Bowl winning coach Doug Peterson, who helped Trevor improve to 4,113 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions in 2022. Those improvements helped the Jags reach the playoffs for the first time since 2017, where Lawrence delivered a superb comeback victory over the LA Chargers. While the daunting Kansas City Chiefs turfed them out of the playoffs 1 week later, things were certainly looking up for Jacksonville with this new quarterback and head coach combination. So everyone thought. Lawrence's interceptions ticked up to 14 in 2023, and a messy collapse saw the team miss the playoffs after an 8-3 start. This poor form carried into 2024, meaning it was time for Doug Peterson to go. Lawrence, now paid as a top 5 quarterback, needs to prove himself in 2025 with a new head coach yet again after a shaky start to his career. The first player taken in the 2022 NFL draft was Travon Walker, an impressive athletic specimen who was viewed as an upside selection due to his lack of production at college. As a rookie for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Walker didn't live up to expectations, made worse by the fact that the edge defender taken directly after him, Aiden Hutchinson, was thriving in Detroit. Nevertheless, the underwhelming 3.5 sack effort in 2022 was replaced by double-digit sacks in both 2023 and 2024, with Walker establishing himself as a useful threat off the edge. Whilst Jacksonville would probably like to go back in time and select Hutchinson over him, Walker still goes down as a good first-round pick. The 2023 draft saw Bryce Young taken first overall, heading to Carolina after their big trade with the Chicago Bears. Young was a popular top option in the 2023 class, but the output in his rookie season was concerning. His 16 starts yielded just 2 wins and 14 losses, with Young completing under 60% of his passes for 2,877 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Ouch. Things then went from bad to worse when Young started the 2024 season in even poorer form, losing his first 2 games. A benching made it seem as if his career was dead and buried, but a return to the lineup later in 2024 showed more than just signs of life. It showed quality. Young played much better ball over the second half of the season, including a 5-touchdown outing to defeat the Falcons in overtime in Week 18. After being written off as a bust, Young finally looked like the Alabama version, now ready to try and confirm himself as the face of the franchise in 2025 and beyond. Our final first overall pick is Caleb Williams, the generational prospect from USC who was taken by the Chicago Bears. As it turns out, this pick was meant to be Carolina's, but they had given it up as part of their trade for Bryce Young, meaning Williams fell into Chicago's lap. Williams had an up and down first season in Chicago, not helped by questionable play calling and poor offensive line play. 3,541 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions is certainly a solid start, and with solid reinforcements along the O-line and in the coach's room arriving ahead of the 2025 season, Bears fans have high hopes for their sophomore stud. So that wraps up our journey through the first overall picks in every draft since the year 2000. Which one stands out the most to you? Make sure to let us know in the comments.